Om Vang me manasi pratisthita mano me vachi pratishthitam aviravirma edhi vedasyama ani sthaha shrutam me ma prahasihi anena dhitena horatran samdadhami Hritam vadishyami satyam vadishyami tanmamavatu tadvaktaramavatu avatu mam avatu vaktaram avatu vaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This is the Shantipatha of Rigveda, Rigvediya Shantipatha. Yes? Whenever you hear this Shantipatha, you know that the Rigvedic text will follow up. So, Vang me manasi pratisthita, my speech is established in my mind. Mano me vachi pratishtitam, and my mind is established in my speech. Now think about it, mind and speech established in one another. Avir Maedi, be revealed to me, O mind, be revealed to me, open to me, O speech. Vedasya Anisthaha, you are the two foundations of the Veda, of the knowledge. Shrutam me ma prahasihi, may that which was revealed to me do not leave me. Uh, uh, yes. Anena dhitena, and by that learned, ahoratran samdadami, I connect days and nights. I gather days and nights by that which was revealed to me, by that which was learned by me. Ritam vadishyami, I shall speak the dynamic truth, the truth in becoming, I shall express. Satyam vadishyami, I shall express the static truth of what is. Tanmamavatu, may that increase me or strengthen me or protect me. Tadvaktaramavatu, may that increase or protect the speaker, increase me, increase the speaker, or protect me, protect the speaker. The speaker here is the one who expresses that higher consciousness. You can see how beautiful Shantipatha is. Has nothing to do with religion or worshipping of some kind of. It is really about faculties of consciousness, about our mind and speech, major faculties of consciousness. Mind represents the vision, the form, and speech represents nama, the name, the hearing, the comprehension. These are apprehensive and comprehensive cognition put together. Okay, here we are. I wanted to touch upon today this beautiful hymn. It's a profound hymn. It is the conclusive hymn of the Rig Veda, the last one. If we look at the whole um, I think it is here. No, it's not here. Somewhere I opened it. Here it is. If you look at the Rig Veda, these are the last hymns of the Rig Veda. Yeah? The 190 we will also touch upon. This is the hymn of creation. And 191 is the hymn, if you read here, it's Rishi Sambananach Angirasach. Sambananach is an interesting name, kind of vana, van root is to enjoy, win, enjoy, and rejoice. So to say, tadvanam, that enjoyment. Van root has this winning and enjoying sense. So the one the name of the Rishi is Samvanana, the one who, how to say, rejoicing together. Let us translate it like this: enjoying together. And that's, you will see it, it will be in the hymn, because this is the hymn of unity, which is the message to the humanity from the Rigvedic rishis. And Devata Agni, first one, as you see here, you see Chandas Anushtup, and the last one Trishtup, and Devata is Agni in the first verse, and Samjnanam in the second and fourth verses. Samjnanam is again kind of realizing together, knowledge by unity, kind of self-realization through unity. This is something amazing. So he is enjoying together, speaking about self-realization in unity for the whole humanity. So the whole hymn starts with this. It's a well-known hymn, often quoted, so I'm sure some of you may know it, but I here put it in, kind of translated it, and we will go through it one by one. So it sounds like this: some id, samidyuvase vrishannagne vishvanyarya. Ilaspade samidhyase samno vasuni abhara. I can read with Vedic accent. Samgajadvam samvadadvam samvo mana ansi janatam deva bhagam yatha purve samjanana upasate. So if you look into this first verse immediately, some, here there's another. Some means together. So Rishi exclaims, together, together, twice, together. Indeed, together, together, indeed, say, you unite, O Lord Vrishan, O Agni, Vishvani, all the components for Arya, for the one who, for your friend who is seeking you, for the one who is evolving here, for the evolutionary soul. You unite all these beings. Ilaspade samidhyase, you are flaming or kindled, samidhyase. You are kindled in the place of the truth, or in the place of revelation. Ilaspade, or in the place of enjoyment. The higher Ida is the libations place. That's how Griffith translates it. He translated in the place of truth. Ila is the truth, one of the rivers, one of the streams of the truth of revelation. So in this place of revelation, you are kindled. Samnovasuni abhara. You, that one, bring all the treasures to us. So, O Lord, Vrishan, O flame divine, Agni, unite all in absolute unity. Samsamidyuvase Vishvani, for Aryan, for the noble one, Arya Ah. You are totally kindled into in the place of the truth. Ilaspade Samidhyase, bring to us our luminous treasures. Sanova Suni Abhara, our own luminous treasures, bring to us. Samgachadvam, this is beautiful. Go together. This is the imperative. Go together. Samvadadvam, speak together. I'm putting here, together you go, not together you go. It sounds like go together. I have to change. And that should be clearer that it is imperative. Go together, speak together. Samvadadvam, speak together. Samvomanansi janatam, may your minds grow together or become one. Become one in realization, samjanata, So some jna root, yes, the realizing. And together you realize your thoughts or your minds. As the first gods, Deva Yatha Purve, as the first gods assumed their share, Deva Bhagam Yatha Purve, Set Upasate, fully agreeing with each other together, Samjanana. This is so beautiful. As the gods at the first sacrifice before the creation of the world sat together in agreeing to receive a particular portion of delight and to bring it into manifestation. In the same way, we have, human beings, we have to go together, to speak together, and to make our minds together. Again, you can see mind and speech, the same idea what was in the Shantipatha. But there is also going together. I will dwell on them later after translating the hymn. These three elements, going, speaking, and thinking. Samano mantrak samitih samani, samanam manasah chittam mesham, samanam mantram abhimantrayevah samanena vohavisha johomi. Uniting is their word, mantrach. Mantrach is common. Mm, common is their mantra. Uniting is their gathering. Samitich samani. Uniting is their mind. Samana manach. Of these, Esham, of these gods, referring to the previous verse, who have one consciousness, Sahachittam, Manach Sahachittam Esham. It is this uniting word, Samanam Mantram, Abhimantrayevah, I speak to you. It is with this uniting offering, Samanena Vo Havisha, of yours that I offer. Samaniva Akutich, the last verse, only 4 verses. May your will in the body be uniting. Samana Hridayani Vaha. May your aspirations of the heart, may your hearts be common, uniting. Samanam Astu Vomano. May your mind be uniting. Yathavaksu Sahasati. As in your common well-being together. So this is the last word of the Rig Veda, Susaha Sati. Amazing word because it is made, it's a unique word. It is met only in this hymn. Su perfectly Saha together Asati should be, as it should be perfectly together. Asati is the subjunctive from root as, to be. So you can see the hymn. We're very kind of simplistic in a way. But where do you see such hymns? Where do you have such messages ever? I think this is the very gist of the Veda, the very major message. If Agni, hymn of Agni was the opening which we looked into, this hymn is unique in its message. So what I actually discovered here is that these three, go together, speak together, and may your minds be together, correspond actually to um, three major, what we call structures of consciousness. Gebser looks into these structures of consciousness. Maybe some of you know about Gebser and his ever-present origin work. Gebser was at the beginning of 20th century. He's a great philosopher of social sciences, let us say of social psychology. And he wrote this, his magnum opus, which is called The Ever-Present Origin. He was a friend of Picasso. He was working on the fourth dimension. It's a unique book. But when he finished his book, he discovered Sri Aurobindo. And he wrote in his letter that all what he got into his intuition in this book was inspired by the force which was coming from Sri Aurobindo. He read about Sri Aurobindo after he published his book, but he claims that influence came from Sri Aurobindo. And this is something unique. And you can see it in his writing, in his book. Yes.
Can you elaborate a little bit on this fourth dimension, Vladimir?
Yes. Yes, definitely. He discovered this idea of structures of consciousness. He speaks about archaic structure as the first, and it is in some way it reminds us of our symbolic age, typal age, and conventional age, and finally mental age, and integral, or spiritual age, which Sri Aurobindo speaks about. You will see it in the human cycle, but these are structures. The first is archaic structure, where the consciousness and power are one, where the manifestation and the consciousness of this manifestation are one and the same. Adam and Eve are still in the paradise. They do not recognize the difference between themselves. They are not ashamed of being different. They feel the same. They are in the paradise. But the moment they touch the apple, they try the apple, they recognize the difference. And that is the first moment when they are banished from the paradise to earth, where as that God, the Yahweh, curses them: in blood and sweat you will earn your bread, and so on and so forth. All the curses he gives to them. It will be very difficult. She will bring to birth children with pain and all that. Yeah, sweat, blood, pain. That's what God gives to Adam and Eve, sending them away from paradise. And according to Gebser, it is the magic structure of consciousness, where consciousness is still identified with its environment, is still not yet distinguishing itself from its environment. And he observes this in the Aboriginal tribes. He looks into the, for example, tribes in, I do not know why I'm starting from so far away, but bear with me. I'm just going in the right direction. There will be structure upon structure. Maybe it will be interesting for you. So in the Aboriginal tribes, he discovered that when they go to hunt, what they do, they wake up in the morning, and at the beach, they draw antelope on the sun. They take the ray of the sun as the arrow. And they dance around this, this image. They put that arrow into the neck of antelope, and then they go hunting. Once they hunt, they shoot antelope into exactly the same place in the neck. They bring antelope to that image, they put it on the image, they dance around, offering it, and then they can eat. What is happening here? Why do they do all this? Why don't they go hunt to eat? Why do they need this ritual before hunting, imagining that the ray of the sun is the arrow? Because for them, the sun, antelope themselves is one and the same being. That's why. This is the magic structure of consciousness, shamanic structure. By the way, some of you know shamanism very well. Shamanic structure is a structure of oneness of nature. I am not different from the tree, from the wind, from the sun. These are the forces, and I am one of those forces. I'm not putting myself separate from them. I'm not identifying myself as if I am not from here. I am this nature. So the consciousness outside and inside is one and the same. Gebser calls it a one-dimensional structure of consciousness. One dimension. There are no two. There's no me and them, me and the world, me and nature. There is no separation. Nature is me. Consciousness is nature. Makes sense, yeah?
Vladimir, but are we also not actually aiming for that oneness even now? Like to
Absolutely,
start
and
from
we
that.
will come to it. This is so good what you say. Yes, if you read what Savitri says at the end, what she learned at the end of the whole Savitri, Sri Aurobindo says that what she learned only how to. I will read to you later. So oneness, this oneness of the being of inner and outer oneness, which they inherited from their paradise, from their archaic structure. That is one there. So they came with this oneness into this world, and they discover slowly that this oneness is not one here. There is a split. There is a difference between me and nature. And that leads us to the mythical structure where the soul discovers its own origin, which is not from here. It is from elsewhere, from the beginning, from some other place, from heaven. We come here from heaven. We are not from this nature. We are inhabiting nature, but we are not of the same origin. So discovery of another origin, and it creates two-dimensional structure. So me and nature, the conflict between me and nature. There's some, I couldn't understand the part of hunting in context of oneness. Right, you contemplated it. You look into the shamanic cultures, you will see how they are doing it. Yeah, what is magic structure actually? We can dwell on it more in comparison to mythical. You will see the difference if we compare. You would see how mythical views the world and us in the world, and how magic views it. So what is magic? It's all taboos, all these, particular, what do you call it, curses, particular formulas which are invoking or activating particular powers. It's all power oriented. And the word doesn't have their place. The word is not important, rather rhythm, like you have drums, boom, 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 boom. You are drumming, you are walking around, notice Samga Jadvam. I will come to it in a minute. You are walking rather than talking. You are acting or walking together rather than discussing or explaining or expressing some inner reality. As somebody we had once in our advisory council in Auroville, somebody from UN, and he was from Senegal, from Africa. And he said, in our village where I'm coming from, when we want to decide something, we don't discuss things. We come together, we sit around the tree, we just sit silently, no discussion. We like, after sitting for a while, we get up and the decision is made already. There is no discussion, there is no disputing, there is no arguing, there are no words. And this is quite interesting. And what he discovered that in the caves, in the caves when Aboriginals were making their paintings, they make paintings of the human beings, but they have no mouth. No mouth. And you will see that all magic structure paintings will be without mouth. So there's something about this shamanic culture which is acting within the nature, as a part of nature, with a particular knowledge of the force to activate a particular power of nature. And that is what is happening within shamanic culture. They do not have the myth of creation of the world. They do not speak that myth. They don't have yet mythology. They are acting differently. Their myths are not about the origin and creation of the world. This is interesting. Of course, shamanic cultures which already inherited mythological, mythical structure, they already have some myths, but they are very, very basic, very down to power, so to say.
Vladimir, can I just add a line to help her understand? Just one line.
Sure.
So I just wanted to tell her, like, as a shamanic practitioner, I'll tell you, when we, like, suppose you find a beautiful flower and you want to pluck it for your altar. So you'll take permission from the flower.
Mm-hmm.
May I touch you and may I take you home? And will you be willing to, come to my altar? Same way when you light, you will say, oh, would you like, beautiful goddess of light or fire, would you like to come to my house? And then you light a lamp. So we just do everything like that, and everything just seems one, whether it is sun or sky or moon or wind or animals or anything. It's a very living feeling. So which is again beyond the intellect, the logic, the reason, the
Absolutely.
mind, the discussion, the word. It is just an innate quality that we are all one in different forms at different times. And it's very beautiful actually to live like that. It's difficult. People call you crazy all the time, but it's lovely.
Yes,
Just wanted
yes,
to add that.
absolutely. That oneness we have to realize again. But we will see how Gapsel is explaining that oneness, this oneness will come back in integral structure as efficient part, yeah? When it is kind of first, when there is no other structure, it is very natural, as in Aboriginal tribes. But later, when the mythical appears, when we become aware that we are not from here, we came from elsewhere, we have our origin, our home, we have to return to, we have to come back to our home. Yeah, this creates the whole religious structure, mythology, that we came from elsewhere and we have to return back. The prodigal son returns. We have to go back to our home, to our so we have to leave this place, this nature. Advaitic approach, Advaita appears. Yes, nature is an illusion. We have to come back to ourselves, to our real, true self, not this which is outside, not this which is tempting us with its own pleasures, with its own involvement, with its own nature. No, we don't want it. We want to come back to ourselves. We want to dive deep and find God and identify with that transcendental being. This is mythical, myth. Two-dimensional structure. In mythical structure is always word oriented, always past oriented. The past was luminous, past was the best. The future, there is no future, interestingly. Only the past, only return. This is the mythical part. And once it appears, you can see in the paintings, there is a mouth appearing for the first time. You can see in all the ancient painting, mouth. And then finally, once these two structures, and there is a contradiction between the inner being and nature, there is a third mental structure appears, manas. And that is quite interesting. He looks into it from every possible mythology. From Greek mythology, he looks into, there's some question more. I understand correlation of the example. Thank you. Thank you, Prito. You can always say, you can switch on microphone and say. It's known. Yeah, you can interrupt anytime. So you're most welcome. So it's not a point. The point is here, what I'm trying to make with mental structure is amazing. It appears approximately 500 BC. I see it in the Greek philosophy. We see Socrates coming in. What Socrates does is quite interesting. He says, I don't need mythology. I don't need to tell you how the world is. I can measure it myself. I can discover it with my mind. I can learn about the world. Please don't tell me how it is. I can discover it. I can think about it. I can weigh it. I can measure it. I can experience it in a new, my own way. And this is mental structure of consciousness. From that time on, we have a totally different view. Suddenly, we have opening forehead. We have a beautiful sculptures of anatomically correct sculptures of the Greek civilization. Suddenly, we view the world objectively, three-dimensional view. And this is the mental structure. By the way, it appeared much later in Europe, though Greeks started it in 500 BC. In Europe, it comes with Renaissance. And you can see from Petrarca. Petrarca was one of the first tourists in the world, because he was traveling for no reason, as they say. He was traveling to view things, you know. Nobody did travel without any reason that time, but Petrarca was one of the first. And so he writes letters to God where he asks forgiveness that he forgot about God because he viewed the Alps, the peaks of the mountains. He was climbing to the peaks of the Alps, and he was viewing, and he was surprised to see that the world is real, that behind the mountains there are other mountains, and wherever you look there are mountains everywhere, objectively existing. And in that moment of beauty, he forgot about his inner relation to his inner mythical connection to God. And he asks permission, or kind of forgiveness. He begs forgiveness from God that in the moment of this, you know, delirium of beauty of the world, he forgot about him. And this is something which turns our consciousness outside. You know, this is the mental structure, creates objective viewing of ourselves. Can you imagine? In the mythical, we didn't see ourselves objectively. We were totally subjectively viewing the world from the religious point of view only. How we relate to that dogma, to that dharma, to that, you know, to that origin. We didn't see outwardly, objectively the world, only in connection to this two-dimensional reality we had within ourselves. Now we can view ourselves objectively. And you know, when conquistadors came to America, American culture was great and was actually very much magic structure, very powerful and very rich and beautiful. But few conquistadors could conquer the whole civilization. How? And you know, the chief of Indians, of Mayans, he explains, whatever we do to them, nothing works. Whatever voodoo we do, whatever magic we try to do onto them, cast on them a spell, the spell doesn't work on them. And there is an explanation.
Why is that, Vladimir?
And there is an explanation. He gives an explanation. They are totally egoistic beings. And that is mental structure. They don't care about your voodoo. They don't look at your magic. They are hungry, lusty, thirsty, angry people. And that creates a power, that power of egoism, of egoistic perception of the world, carelessness. This is the mental structure, the objectively viewing the world. I am objectively taking everything what belongs here to me. Now it belongs to me. Your land, your people, your culture, your wealth, everything is now mine. I take it because I want it. So that structure, which was built on oneness, could not compete with this mental structure, three-dimensional. It was much stronger. And that's we can see this conquest of this egoistic mental structure all over the world. All civilizations fell. Even the Indian civilization, which was so great and so powerful, fell when the Europeans came. Few Europeans came there, and they could conquer the whole India with their absolute objective egoistic view of things. Just think about it, how powerful it is. This mental structure. And he describes this as Athena. Athena is born from the head of Zeus. She breaks the head of Zeus and she crushes through. And she says that Manu, Manas, and also we have it, Manu, there is another word, anger, are connected. Mind and anger. This anger, to be angry, to be selfish, is something of the action of the mental structure. Now, the mental structure is turning us outside, and we are viewing ourselves as objective beings. I'm looking at myself now as an objective body. I look into the mirror, I put some cloth, I'm dealing with myself as an object, no more as a subject. Funny, huh? So this objectivization of the mythic, of the magic structure, so to say, what mind creates, it creates the magic structure outside. If the magic structure was within, was one, now it is outside. So all the magic relations are coming outside. All our, technology, all our shopping centers, it's all magic objectivized. It's all about that magic to get it into the objective form. All our airplanes, our technology, what we are doing now, it's magic. I'm sitting here far away from you. You're on another continent, and we are doing this discussion. It's a total magic, but objectivized. So you can see magic structure first, one, then there is three-dimensional magic, which is mythical, and in between this mythical structure, our soul, like in hamburger, like put in between, suppressed from both sides. And you can see this fight between the mental structure and mythical was there also. You can see it in the form of when religions and science clashed in Europe. Yeah, and religions were so much against science, and all Giordano Bruno was burned, and everyone else, witch hunt, Inquisition, all was the resistance of the mythical structure to this emerging new mental structure, viewing ourselves objectively. Leonardo da Vinci was the first who created the first idea of three-dimensional forms. Do you know that? He said that not only we look at the horizon, but the horizon also looks at us. And these two views create three-dimensional world. It's an amazing thing. We are just recently coming to this mental structure, objective viewing ourselves, and we already developed so much outside. So much technology was developed in a few hundred years with the help of this objective viewing. Now, what he says about this structure, that it is very critical, very destructive mental structure. It does not allow any other structure to survive. So no soul. We have no soul. We are objectively existing biological beings, yes, who are reproducing ourselves and dying after that. That's it. That's the science about it, because it does not permit the kind of connection to our origin. And there is no oneness. There's a total separation of things, magic structure objectivized, everyone against everyone for the resources of this magic outside. That's what mental structure does. But he says it is absolutely necessary to reorient our views of our mythical view, which looks always into the past towards the future. What it does, it reorients our subjective view towards the future. That's why it is needed. And that creates the integral structure. Now, within the integral structure, all of these magic, mythical, and mental are becoming transparent. They are becoming real contributors to the complexity of our consciousness and existence. So we have real oneness, we have real connection to our origin, our inner being, and we have our objective existence connected to both of these first. And that is the integral structure. It makes totally sense to me. But if you study Gebser, we can have few sessions on Gebser if you want. I had the whole seminar for 1 month on the ever-present origin. We can do it later, not in this Vedic studies.
So
But
this integral part is the fourth plane. That's what you are saying?
yes, it is that which is waiting for us in the future. Now look at this hymn of the Rig Veda. Why I spoke so long on it? Because I want to tell you that it is about this, about these three coming together and creating that integral structure. Samgajadvam, go together, magic structure. Samvadadvam, speak together, myth, heart. Brihaspati is rising from the heart. The word, the mantra, Brahman, is the word rising from the depth of the heart. Samvadadvam, speak together. Samvomanansi janatam, may your minds be together. May your thoughts. So these are three structures which create togetherness of our being. As the gods sat together at the first sacrifices, the first gods sharing the sacrifice, taking the share in their work on sat together. In the same way you come together and put these three powers together. And you can see that these three powers correspond to karma yoga, bhakti yoga, and jnana yoga of the Gita. These are three constituents of our being: will, heart, and mind. Look at this last verse. It's beautiful. Samanivach akutich. May your will in the body be uniting, this akutich. Samana hridayani vaha. May your hearts be common, uniting. Samanam astuvo mano. May your mind be uniting. Here we can see that synthesis of knowledge, which we find later in the Gita, in the Upanishads, in Tantra, and it is all coming from the Veda. This lineage, this kind of parampara of one knowledge. I wanted you to see it. And that's why I took this hymn. Not only that it is beautiful hymn in general, but also for you to see how these three components of our existence are coming together. And that is what is required. And as in your common well-being together, that should be perfect being together. If we can unite this Agni, Vayu, and Surya of the Brahmanas or Upanishads, or our will, heart, and mind of the Gita, then we will be in the perfect harmony with the world and ourselves and our innermost being. Okay, I will stop here and open to your questions or observations.
So, Vladimir, what is coming to me is that basically the whole focus has been on dissolving the disharmony, and that innately would unite everyone, right? it's
Yes,
it's it's not an outside thing that is everybody's trying to be united. You, it is secondary that you, when together is as in with other people, is secondary. First you have to be united within your own being, and that will only happen when the disharmonies, the imbalances are dissolved, right?
right. And it is not only uniting as unification, yes, or like you become like it's not it's a unity in diversity or diversity in unity. It's rather unity than unification. Some people misunderstand this and they think that unity has to come through the law, that everybody follows the same law, this mental imposition, yeah, which is not going to work. We need the depth of magic structure, we need the truth of the mythical structure, and we need the diversity, objective viewing of the mental. We need all three of them.
Is it more like individualization?
It is individualization with a proper, yes, finding of our inner being and our oneness with the world. Yes, that individualization, true individualization, true individual, which finds himself in all beings and all beings in himself, and is not dissolving himself into oneness, and is not becoming an egoistic individual against others. Yeah.
Wow, that's lovely. It sounds so perfect. But Vladimir, I have a question because I missed the last class. I didn't have any internet connection. So, why are these hymns are being sung right now in a certain space, or for a certain sacrifice, or like what is the context in which we are studying this? So I
Well,
missed it.
we took first the hymn to Agni, and now we took the last hymn of the Rig Veda, first and last, just to give a framework for the Rig Veda, just to have a sense what is the message of the Rig Veda and what is the beginning, um, what was the vision of what Rig Veda offers us as we must do. And that was the first hymn to Agni. We must offer everything what is here to higher consciousness in us. And our divine will is to carry it and to transform us through our offerings into these beings which can be individualized and at the same time united with the world. Mm. It's actually, it's profound. It, the words are not capable of ca- capturing it because words are in this mythical structure. But magic structure is this oneness of experience, and mental structure is this viewing of the diversity. Mm. He speaks also that in the integral structure there will be an eruption of time. There is the whole chapter on eruption of time. He speaks about time as a subjective force. There are different times in which we live. Yeah? We live in geological time, in the cosmic time, in psychological time. So everyone has a different kind of pressure or different intensity of time, and we abused time because the mental structure abuses time in a way that it views time in the spatial way, like space. So we see as a clock, like the tuck, tuck, tuck. We think that that is time. It is not time. Time is the power, is a psychological power within us, which can be intense. In 5 minutes, we can experience the most intense experience. And or in 1 year, we can have nothing at all. So the time is very subjective. It's an intensity of power. Sri Aurobindo says that time is Shakti, actually. Shakti which moves the worlds. Everything is moved by this power of time. And speaking about time, we will look into the Rigvedic hymn, which is next one or previous one. I put it here, the hymn of creation. It is just hymn before, where the time is mentioned, the time as the creator of the world. This is maybe this we will take next time.
This reminds me, I don't remember whom did I read, but either in Sri Aurobindo or Mother's writing, they say a person who runs after time will always show the aspect of sexuality, and with money, always there will be a disharmony. So these three always will go together.
Say it again. I just didn't get to the
So
meaning.
time, sexuality, and money. These three elements, as you said, Shakti. So these three elements always are in same vibration. Like,
Oh, I didn't know that. You
so
just made a
nowadays,
discovery for me.
Power, like wealth,
power.
money.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
power, wealth,
It's mentioned,
yes, and sex, yes,
sex.
yes. These
it's
three
mentioned in the
are three
mother.
heads of the dragon. Yes, right.
Yeah. I don't. I think it's, yeah. It's in Mother's
Mother.
writing. So anyone, at least as a sex counselor, when we used to see people, if they are crying or if they are complaining about the time factor, you will always see the opposite pole getting impacted, either the sexuality or the power part.
Yes, sexuality and money are connected. Yes, wealth, very much so. She discovered this, and she describes this in Agenda. You know, they before the Second World War, they had a very good grip over these powers. And Ganesha, Ganesha Ganapati was always giving mother some money, with whatever money she needed for ashram to run. She had to tell him that I need some, finances, and he was providing. He was very keen to do it. But after the Second World War broke forth, the situation has changed, and money was not really obeying anymore the gods. And there was an interesting thing that she was, and Sri Aurobindo complained to her, to the mother. He said that whatever I try, if all the forces obey me, my will, but the force of money does not listen. And she said, okay, and she wanted to discover what was the reason, what was the the obstacle in that. So she went into the vital worlds, and she was looking for the origin of money. She went to Earth. She met with the spirit of Earth. Spirit of Earth said, I can give you anything what is on Earth, but not money, because money is not produced, it's not originated on Earth. It is extraterrestrial force. Now it's quite interesting. Extraterrestrial force sounds like, you know. So she went into those occult worlds in the subtle world looking for that force. And she found the cave which was shining with a huge, this kind of power of money, red cave, like cave of wonders, if you will, of Aladdin, something like this. But the moment she wanted to enter it, the huge python rose, and he said, you cannot enter this cave. This is the source of money, the source. If you enter there, you have all the money ever. Um, and she said, why not? He said that I am here, the guardian. You have to kill me or you have to destroy my masters. She looked at him and she saw that he was impossible to destroy. It was such a huge python. And she asked, who are your masters? And he said, the sexual power on earth. These are the masters of money. And mother said, I understood everything immediately. I understood why people do what they do. Why, when they give donations, they want to know every paisa which was spent for that school. But when the moment comes to spend this money for their own pleasures, they open up and money flows like anything. No problem. No count is needed.
So
But
it's very much being comfortable in your skin. The moment when you are comfortable with your sexuality, with your desires. See, fulfilling is a complete different agenda, but at least coming to alignment with what you are desiring, with what you are inside, is a very much a channel for smooth flow of money. Yes.
mm, mm, mm. Yeah, so money and sexuality are related, absolutely, and they are, and I can see it. So she actually was saying that for it was for Navajata. She said that if you want to manage power of money, you have to be brahmachari, a real brahmachari. So you have to be totally indifferent to this power, totally conquering this power within oneself. And she said that it is very difficult to conquer the power on earth because you can do it within yourself, but you can't do it within others. It's impossible. I cannot come to you and conquer your sexuality power. I can't do it. I have no access to it. Only you can do it. And that creates the whole problem with money. So these three heads, power, sex, and money, three heads of the dragon, and she says they will be all converted. All these powers will be converted uh, eventually. And she said the last power will be the power will be converted. Politics. That's why she didn't want us to have politics in Auroville, because it's power connected. Oh, it's really.
So I have one more question related to this fourth plane. I read somewhere where Mother speaks on psychic being. If you want to connect with your psychic being, you have to somewhere connect with this fourth plane.
Mm-hmm.
So can you share anything on that?
Yeah, 1 second. So sorry. Um, so the fourth plane. What do you mean? The fourth plane connected to soul to the fourth?
So in this, there was this inserts on psychic being where she uses this fourth plane, the fourth realm, as if you want to connect with your psychic being, you need to discover and be connected with this fourth plane, the integrated plane, what you are speaking. So can you share more light on that part?
You mean the fourth dimension? Yeah.
Yes, fourth dimension. Sorry.
Okay, because fourth plane is supramental
No,
actually.
fourth dimension. Sorry.
Yeah, fourth dimension. Yes, that psychic being exists in the fourth dimension, not in this third dimension. Yeah, you cannot find it in the three-dimensional space. Looking for it, where is psychic being? I can't find the soul. I can see the brain. Yes, I can see the body, but I can't see the soul. But it is in the fourth dimension. Yes, this fourth dimension is a kind of, yeah, maybe Uspensky. Some of you may know Uspensky and Gurdjieff. Did you hear these names? Yeah. So Uspensky was the disciple or the student of Gurdjieff. Gurdjieff was an occultist, and quite with quite great power. And so Uspensky discovered the fourth dimension, and he has the whole book, which is called The Fourth Dimension. He discovered it in an interesting way. And maybe I will explain this. It may help. So he looked into the mirror and he saw himself, and he looked into the photo of himself being a child, and he was wondering how this being is the same as this being which he sees in the mirror. So look in the photo, look into the mirror, and you see two different beings, but it is one and the same being. So what has happened to that being, to that child, that it became this looking into the mirror thing. Mm. And then he realized time happened. And this is the power of time. Yeah, the time. And then he saw that the time connects space to space in a particular movement. So I'm sitting here now. I will get up, go out, go outside, come back. All those spaces, if I connect one by one by one by one into one space, that will be time. It's amazing. And we cannot connect very easily space because our Earth is rotating. Yeah. How can you connect that space where Earth was in another position? Yeah? And rotating around the sun also. So how you have to find that space somewhere which was there and which was sun was somewhere else. The whole galaxy was elsewhere. The whole solar system was drifting around the center of galaxy. Galaxy was expanding. So where would you find that space? How can you connect my movement outside if our planet is flying, our solar system is flying 1 million kilometers per hour? Where would I find this moment which I was just sitting right now? It is gone. That space is gone into somewhere else. So if I connect all those spaces into one, that would be time. And that is fourth dimension. The fourth dimension of the space, which is three-dimensional, is time. And in
And
that,
there's a scientific principle, the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. You know,
uh,
about the movement, the speed of the movement and the weight. You can only always find out one because it is connected with speed and I mean the time and the movement of Earth. It's very fascinating if you study that, the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle.
yeah, would be nice to if you could explain more how these two are different. I know this is the paradox, uh, maybe difficult to explain. Paradoxes are not explainable. Yes, so
But they're fantastic and that makes them exciting and we can keep researching in our own way to really absorb that knowledge in the daily life, right? Otherwise it's just knowledge.
yeah, yeah. And if psychologically you want to view it, I would ask you something like, if I take 10 years of your life and press it into one particular space, yeah, or one particular moment of time. 10 years, whatever you experienced, you were frustrated, you were happy, you were indifferent, everything I will suppress to one moment. What will happen to you? You will explode. There's so much energy within those 10 years, so much fire. You will flame up. You know, you will burn. This fire is spread over time. It is that yugas, those spreadings, and that's what exactly this hymn starts with. You, O Agni, the Lord, unite everything for the noble one. All the beings you unite totally. So we are all connected to all. Yeah, but in this time it is being spelled out bit by bit or step by step, space by space, as it were. Sri Aurobindo says that space is the objective phenomena, whereas time is the subjective phenomena of a supermind. Supermind, objectivizing its subjective power, creates space. Well, it makes totally sense. But of course, these are deep issues, and we know about them a little superficially. But experientially, yes. So the psychic being is in that fourth dimension, in the dimension of force or time, which moves the worlds. Well, doesn't help. doesn't explain it.
I'm still at the fact that we will explode. I was imagining we will all come to like one single point, like like a electronic, even a subatomic particle. I thought everything will come compress and become that one tiny thing, which has the potential to explode. But you said we will explode, and I'm still in the. I'm still trying to understand. Or really, I mean, all the science that I've studied and all the feelings I'm getting, everything is getting very little mixed up. So I'm just pondering over it, because I understand what you say, that this fire is spread over yugas. That
Yeah.
also I can understand. I agree with it. I don't know why, but from inside I feel it's correct.
Yeah.
But I'm still in the pointedness. Like I'm still in that one subatomic particle point, which are, I mean, maybe quarks, or even I don't know what. Maybe even finer than that. But yeah.
Those subatomic particles and those quarks and those, yeah, nucleus and those atoms, they are fixing that particular movement of energy in the way that you will not explode.
That's awesome, Vladimir.
Yeah, they're fixing you to space because and you cannot overlap the same space. That's what my paradox was. If I suppress all that space into one space, which is not possible, that's why how you explode, it would be nuclear explosion, even physically speaking. Yeah?
Wow. Today's class is the best test. We have everything from magic to explosion with Vedic hymns and everything. It's wonderful. Thank you,
Yes,
Lakshmi.
yes, you're most welcome. Great. Okay, so this is the hymn of unity. Quite a hymn. It's actually the project for the future, for the whole Hinduism to emerge, for all those great synthesis of knowledge in Upanishads, in the Gita and Tantra. This is the foundation. The Veda is the foundation. Okay, we can stop here today and continue next time. Maybe we will look into some hymns of Vishwakarman. They all kind of easier hymns for us, like, creations, and then we will go to Upanishads, and it will be easier already. Upanishads are closer to us. Okay, I will close with mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santo Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.